Alright, so Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Okay, bestie. So, I'm not gonna lie, I read this book like a month ago. It's been so long. But I figured I should tell you about it because I did say I would talk about it. So this book basically talks about Achilles and Patroclus. I don't know if I'm saying any of these names right. That's just part of it. Oh, Jesus Christ. But anyway, bestie. I guess in one sentence I would say, you know those things that are like, these two women, they lived together forever and they were buried as friends. Friends. So basically we start out with Patroclus as a boy, and he's kind of like thin and wiry, and he's like not very athletic, and his dad is a king, and they all go to this big meeting where they're all trying to like win the hand of Helen, I think, and they're all, you know, going up there and pledging, and eventually they all pledge like, oh, we're gonna protect Helen, and I think one of them, maybe Odysseus, he might marry her. I don't really remember. Like I said, I read this book so long ago, so you're just getting the gist of it, bestie. But this is a good book, and you should read it. I'll just start out with that. So anyway, he's a little boy, Patroclus. He's the king's son, and he's, you know, not very like intimidating or talented or anything like that. So people are just sort of like, oh, Patroclus, whatever. He has like some dice or something, and some kid tries to take him from him out in a field, and he pushes him down, and the kid falls on a rock, and the kid dies. And then so he's like, he killed a boy. Bitch, he killed somebody. Call an ambulance, but not for me. And so because he killed somebody, he gets exiled, and he goes to King Peleus. Anyway, he goes to a different king's place to like be trained or whatever, spend his time. And that is where he sees Achilles, and he's like, he cute. And Achilles is like this famed, like he's got a prophecy that he's going to be like the greatest warrior ever. And they grow to be close friends while they're growing up there, and Achilles is obviously like super talented, and he like takes Patroclus on as his personal BFF, his companion. And so they end up going, he has to go train with Chiron, who is a centaur who has trained a lot of Greek heroes. And so they go up there, they both learn like tons of skills. Patroclus is really interested in learning about medicine, so he like studies medicine and surgery and that kind of stuff. And then they get a call that, hey, you gotta come back. And the whole time, so Achilles' dad is the king, and his mom is Thetis, who's this like water goddess person. She kind of nasty, she kind of crusty. She comes out every now and then, and he like talks to her, and she's like, you shouldn't be with Patroclus, and I think you should do this, and you're a warrior, blah, 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 and you could be a god. And she's so annoying. And then they go out, and basically they want him to fight in this war, but they're like, no, you're not fighting in the war. And so then Thetis takes him away, dress him up as a girl, and he's over there in this other kingdom, and and then Patroclus finally goes over there, and he's like, oh my god, that's Achilles. And then they're together some more. They be having some cute moments throughout where they, you know, they do a little smooch. It's very cute, very sweet. They seem like a good match for each other, which is adorable. They got some cute lines where Patroclus is just absolutely in love with him, and Achilles is like training, and finally Helen has been stolen from Troy, you know, and so then they got to go over there and fight in this like huge long war, and Achilles is like the greatest hero of all time, so just by like being there, everybody's in better moods. But he's not the commander, so people are kind of iffy about, oh, do we like follow Achilles because he's the greatest warrior of all time, or do we follow this other guy? And this other guy in the spoils of war, he like is trying to like take all these girls, and Achilles is like, no, that girl is mine, and her name is Briseis. And Patroclus like makes her like his friend, and he kind of like comforts her, and she teaches him how to speak whatever language she spoke, because she was like a farm girl. And they become good friends, and while they're out on the battlefield for 10 years, Achilles is doing lots of fighting. He's all like covered in blood, and Patroclus is like, "It's okay, I still love you." And then Briseis is like teaching the other girl. They kind of got a little homestead going on, and Patroclus is like a medic. Like he does all the medicine and he helps with all that, and he can help people with like minimal pain, and they heal really well. So he's really good at that. And then eventually, there's this one point where there's this whole prophecy where like killing Hector and stuff like that. I don't really remember. Like I said, it's been a long time. I know I've said that a bunch already. But there's all this stuff where he got to kill Hector, and Achilles like, I'm not going to go help them because of whatever. So he's been in the tent lazing around. Patroclus is like, well, they just need to see you and they'll be rallied to fight. And he's like, well, I ain't doing that. Patroclus is like, well, I'm going to wear your armor and I'm going to go in there. And so then Patroclus does that, and Achilles is like, don't do it, boo. And he's like, well, I'm doing it anyway. I'll be safe, I promise. I won't fight. And he goes out and he does a little chariot parade thing, but then he ends up going to try fight, and he gets dead. And Achilles is very mad about that. He goes off and he fights the guy, and he like kills the person who killed Achilles. No, he kills the person who kills Patroclus. And then he dies too. And then he gets like buried in this whole thing, and then Thetis is like, no, Patroclus doesn't get to be here. So Patroclus is like all haunting everybody, and he just wants to be, eternal rest and go to the underworld or whatever happens in Greek mythology. And finally, his name gets put next to Achilles, and then they can be happily ever dead together. So I don't even think that was helpful, but that is somewhat what happens, at least from what I remember. There's a couple quotes that people really throw around. Something like, I would know him even in death. And that kind of comes in at the end there. They know each other in death. And that's kind of sweet. Yeah, it's a good book. I would recommend. I wish I had more to tell you about it, bestie. But like I said, it's been a minute and I didn't feel like going through and writing notes for everything. So yeah, not very helpful on that one. I guess my one sentence, they were friends. You get it? Anyway. And they were roommates. Anywho, Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Highly recommend. You should read this book. I didn't cry like everybody else kind of said they did, because it's Greek mythology. Like, you kind of know what's going to happen. Like, did you all not know he was gonna die? Anyway, so yeah, rating, we'll do 4.5 out of 5 stars, I think. I tore through this, that's why it's been a minute. And then my next read is going to be Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, and I just finished that this morning, and girl, let me tell you, that series needs to end. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching this video, give it a like, consider subscribing. I promise I'll do these a little bit more frequently. That way I can actually tell you what happens in the book instead of just going, but if you stick with me, things will get better. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things you do. Or you can just read this book, and then I guess you wouldn't need me altogether. I probably shouldn't say that. But happy reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.